This is a pretty easy number one, obviously.
Yeah, pretty easy number one. Mike Rozier, obviously Heisman Trophy winner.
I mean, my number one is Lawrence Phillips. He's the most talented running back we've ever had.
Okay. So let's break this out.
It's Phillips and Rozier as our two running backs.
Oh shit!
I want to hear your argument on most talented as far as the eye test and all that. Go for it. You run with this.
I mean, I don't really know what I should say as far as eye test. Just watch any game that he played. He was the most physical. He was the most athletic player he was terrible human being, best running back we've ever had. That's my opinion.
Okay, so I hear you.
I know, and again, you can look at the stats if you want to.
Usually, you're more of a stats guy.
Stats tell a story, though, too.
Yeah, but he also missed a lot of games for various reasons.
Okay.
45, 40, 35, 40. He's gonna go. It's time people feel it.
Big Red Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better. He gets better and better. If we die, we die.
Man, put a child in that. Put him in the aisle.
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Big Red Junkies. I am BJ. This is Matt. This is Jed. We're doing an all-time greats Huskers draft of every position. Get excited. This is a 3-part series. We're doing offense for this show. We'll do defense, and then we'll do special teams and coaches. The coaches one is going to be...
it's going to take forever.
That's probably going to be our longest show.
We've got special teams in there, too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, we'll combine those two, but guys, I'm just telling you that might be
have to really
one of the
buckle in.
longest shows of the season.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of contention on that one.
Just make sure we push record.
Yeah, no shit. We might miss it if we
Lightning in
blink.
a bottle.
Might miss it if we blink. That might come out as a, what do they call those on you? A short?
A reel?
Yeah.
Yeah, a real short.
A real short.
Yeah.
Real short.
Jesus, we sound old.
Yeah, oh shit. What do the kids call it these days? It's going to feel like a what do the kids call it these days sound old thing when we get through some of these players, but we are going through this position by position, basically filling out all 11 spots on both sides of the ball, and then like I said, we're going to do special teams and coaches. We're going to jump right into this thing. We're hitting the offensive line first, starting at the tackle position. I know that Jed has opinions that we probably don't even understand because we have not done the extensive research that Mr. Jed Burks has done.
Even if I didn't do research, I at least lived through a lot of
You
this.
also lived through more of it than we did.
Yeah, it's because you're fucking old.
I am.
If you guys didn't know this, Jed's actually 94 years old.
Yep, I guess.
He looks great.
For anyone that
And
might...
apparently, according to somebody, I look like Gabriel Iglesias too. And
that was great.
weird.
That was a shout out to whoever that comment was from.
He sucks, but
It's fantastic.
not the commenter. Gabriel Iglesias is not funny, but anyway.
Jeez. Hey, you fans. I'm going to attack you now.
Jed's hungry for some tacos and he's feeling fluffy.
I just am funny.
Jesus Christ. No, and for any of you extremely advanced in Husker knowledge / age people that are watching, we appreciate you guys. We only went back to the beginning of the Devaney era with these numbers. We are not going back to any of our 20s and 30s types of teams. So,
for the most part, because we're going to start with the tackles. Bob Brown is before Devaney, and so
okay, that's fair.
Or no, wait.
No, he was
I'm
Devaney
sorry.
era.
You're right. He was in the Devaney. I'm
61.
sorry. Yes,
61.
right at the beginning. So
And we just propped you up as being the expert on this topic.
Sorry.
And here we go.
Totally already trying to fuck it up.
Yep. Well, we did.
I mean, as great as Bob Brown, I think your number one tackle has to be Zach Wiegert from the mid 90s. I mean, he's a guy that won the Outland Trophy. He also only allowed 1 sack in his entire career at Nebraska. So it's to me, the tackle position starts at least with Zach Wiegert, and then you can go to Bob Brown, as great as he was.
Was
also.
he really in the Heisman race? I mean, if you call him 9th in the race, but was he really up there at one point? That's insane.
I mean, he won the 94 Outland.
Yeah.
He was a 94 consensus All-American and unanimous All-American, whatever the fuck that means. Doesn't consensus and unanimous mean the same thing?
Sure.
3-time All-Big 8. in 92, 93, and 94. College Football Hall of Famer. Was drafted in the second round by the Rams. Dude played 12 years in the NFL. Rams, Jaguars, Texans. Like, he did it all.
Yeah.
The guy did it all.
I'm looking at the 94 Heisman Trophy. I actually didn't even know that until you said that. He got one first place vote. Zach Wiegert did.
Hey, but he got a fucking vote for the Heisman. An offensive tackle
He
got
had
a vote for the
one
Heisman.
first place vote, 7 seconds, and 10 thirds. He finished 9th.
That's crazy.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's really cool.
Yeah. An offensive lineman. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll chalk that up to never going to happen again in the history of the Heisman.
I think like Orlando Pace for Ohio State and Jonathan Ogden from UCLA also got Heisman
Don't
votes.
rain on this parade.
Because those two are like two of the best offensive linemen ever. So, but yeah, Zach Wiegert, Bob Brown.
Bobby Brown.
There are other guys.
Tell us about the 60s, Jed.
I don't know about the 60s. I'm not that old. I'm old, but I'm not that old. But I mean, you could also get, Zach Wiegert's running mate with Rob Zadiska on the other side. There are guys that are really good, but I think those top two guys are basically it.
your contenders here, Bob Newton, 69 and 70, Darrell White in the 70s, Larry Kramer in the early 60s. Again, he would have been opposite of Bob Brown.
Yeah.
Kevin Clark. These are all like 70s and 70s, 60s and 70s guys. Doug Glazer from the 80s. Cody Whitehair, do not remember him.
I don't. I do remember Nick Gates, and he had a cup of coffee in the NFL. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Zach Wiegert and Bob Brown. That's the list.
Wild. Cody Whitehair was a second round pick. Played in 2012 and 15. How the fuck do I not remember this guy?
I don't remember.
You changed his name? Like, how do I not know who this guy is? He's a Pro Bowler. Played with the Bears. 8 seasons in the NFL. Yeah, this is what you do when you come up with this research too. Is like you come across players, you're like, how the fuck do I not have any clue who this guy was?
Yeah,
A lot of people to remember. We've got 5 different active running backs that we got to remember right now. We got to
no
a lot
kidding.
going on.
Jesus Christ. We've got our tackles nailed down, though. Those are pretty simple and standard ones.
Offensive tackles, anyway.
Offensive tackles, yes. Oh, well, on the D tackle side, I think that's going to be pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty
a lot of this is
pretty easy to get there. Jed, who would you put up as your number one on the guard?
Will Shields. I mean, that's
Undoubted.
yeah. That's not a question.
Started 40 games.
Yep.
Another
Outland winner.
89 to 92 Outland Trophy, 3-time All Big 8, consensus All American, 3rd round draft pick.
I think
12-time Pro Bowl.
14 years in the NFL, 12 of those he went to the Pro Bowl. And that was back when the Pro Bowl actually meant something.
223 straight starts.
Crazy.
He's another guy that's in both the College Hall of Fame and the NFL Hall of Fame. I think the guard position, again, are 2 top guys that are cut and dry, but I think the guys below the top 2 are closer than they are in the tackle position. Because you've got guys like Brendan Stye, Tony Finoti, Ross Hochstein, Richie Incognito, guys like that are much closer to the second guy, which would be Dean Steinkoehler.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you think about like Richie Incognito, wasn't he a transfer in too? And then you look at his NFL career.
Transfer out, he was
You
everything.
look at his NFL career though, like he had a monster NFL career. Even though he was a very hated and controversial player.
Yes.
He had a great NFL career. There's a lot to go up there. Who would you throw in as our number 2 guy on the guards?
Oh, Dean Steinkoehler.
Steinkoehler, for sure.
It's Will Shields and Dean Steinkoehler. It's pretty clear, cut and dry.
But the Outland and Lombardi Trophy in '83. Went number 2 in the draft.
Yeah, but again, the guys behind Shields and Steinkoehler are closer than what the tackle position is. The guard is a very deep position. Although the center position, which we're going to talk about now, it's much deeper.
Okay, so
there's a clear one.
Here's my thing.
But everybody below that is very close.
That's my thing, right? So you have a guy who the award is literally named after. Impossible to not make him the pick. But you also have Dominic Raiola, who was not only extremely dominant in college,
and
but
won the first Remington Award.
yes.
But you also have Aaron Taylor.
Not only wildly dominant in college, but he was also very dominant in the NFL.
Yes. But Aaron Taylor, great. I mean, he won 3 national titles. He's an Outland Award winner. Aaron Graham was phenomenal. He had a decent career in the NFL. Cam, not a center Jurgens, according to you.
That is what I called him forever. He's a better NFL center than he ever was at Nebraska.
Of course.
Let's be real about that.
I know. I have to say it every time we bring him up now, but
he really only qualifies to make this top 10 list at center spot because of his NFL career.
Pretty much.
Let's be real about it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's your list.
Yeah. It's he wouldn't make my top 10 list. Not a chance. Not a chance.
But no, like Dominic Raiola, Aaron Taylor, Aaron Graham, those 3 specifically, honestly, as far as a second center, just pick one as far as I'm concerned. Because
I think it has to be Raiola, in my opinion.
That's fine. I'm just saying the other 2 are equally as good.
Fair.
They only didn't win the Remington Award because there wasn't one at the time that they were playing.
Right.
So, it's to say that Raiola won the first Remington Award. Like, okay, that's great, but Aaron Graham and Aaron Taylor would have won it if there was such a thing at the time. So
here's one that I think is a strange one, the tight end. Because this list, there's a lot of them on here, and I'm like, no idea who some of these people are. My first one, my go-to, right off the top of my head, was Tracy Wistrom.
I get it. He's somebody that you at least know.
Yes. That was the big thing for me. That was one of the, in my era of actually having knowledge and memory of Husker football, he's probably the most standout tight end for me. But then it was actually Austin Allen.
I get it. But
we haven't had a strong history of tight ends.
I will tell you.
Not pass catching tight end.
Yeah, but you didn't get to see Johnny Mitchell play. Johnny Mitchell was an absolute athletic freak. And he should have done more in the NFL than what he ended up doing. But I would almost
first rounder.
And I'm not, Junior Miller, I don't really remember him. Oh, I mean, hell, he started playing the year I was born, so I don't remember him or anything else like that. But stories that I've heard of Junior Miller, he was great.
Overall pick.
Yeah, Johnny Mitchell.
That's fucking no, Junior Miller.
Oh, okay.
That's crazy.
Like, do you remember Matt Harrion?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not trying to say that he's the same athletic freak, but you remember how Matt Harrion was able to get downfield and score and that. Imagine Johnny Mitchell, but bigger, or as far as Matt Harrion, but bigger. That's Johnny Mitchell. As far as just an athletic psycho.
That's wild.
So as far as tight ends go, I go Johnny Mitchell, but I get the recency. I don't even want to say bias because, whatever, but Tracy Wistrom was phenomenal. He was great. I mean, hell, I would even say, I brought up the Matt Harrion, more athletic Tracy Wistrom is Johnny Mitchell.
Wow. So you putting him in at that spot?
My guy would be Johnny Mitchell, but
I'll go with it just because I don't have an opinion on this list. To be honest with you.
There's barely anybody from when I've been alive on this list. So
as I was looking at it, I'm like, this is one spot. I didn't realize how it's crazy to think about Iowa and it being borderline tight end U for a solid decade, and the fact that Nebraska has almost no history of producing tight ends.
I mean, we do, but it's just not to that same level. I mean, it's not like we've had scrubs sitting there.
No, but we haven't since the early 90s. We haven't put guys in the NFL at the tight end spot, and that's the tight end spot's a very different game now.
Yep.
So Carter Nelson, you're up, dude. You got to get this figured out.
Yeah, no
get on this list. It doesn't seem like it would take much. On the wide receiver side, this was another one that I was past the number 2, number 1 and number 2, obviously Johnny Rodgers and Irving Fryar, those are your cutaway, done. But then you have a bunch of modern guys on there.
So here's my dilemma with Irving Fryar. Okay, so he was the number 1 overall draft pick to your Patriots in '84, and obviously he had a great career, and he's
17 seasons in the NFL.
He's one of just great career at Nebraska. He's part of the scoring explosion of 1983 for Nebraska with Turner Gill and Mike Rozier. But honestly, if you look at his senior numbers,
well, his stats overall compared to some of these guys, it's just a different game.
Well, it's a different game, and I'm not necessarily saying that, but like you would think that he had, at least for that time frame, great numbers. In 1983, he had like 700 and something receiving yards, which ranked him like in the mid-20s in the country. So it's not, and again, this is like one of the greatest offenses in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
In 1983 Nebraska. You would think at least, I'm not trying to say he should have like over 1,000 or whatever else, because that just wasn't the offense that Nebraska was running. And you have a 2,000-yard running back with Mike Rozier and all those, and Turner Gill doing his thing and stuff like that. But just to have barely over 700 receiving yards, and
it's a little wild.
I don't. He's one of the legendary receivers. I get it.
Well, think about this. Like,
I honestly have kind of a problem putting him guaranteed on the list.
Think about it from this perspective. Johnny Rodgers had 2,400, just shy of 2,500 yards on 143 catches. Number 3 on this list, according to the metrics, is Stanley Morgan Jr. with 2,700 yards, 189 catches. Irving Fryar sits in between those two with 1,196 yards on 40 catches, 40 total catches. But the difference is yards per catch was 29.9, fucking 30 yards per catch, and everyone else is in the mid-teens.
Well, and also
that's insane.
Here's one of the other things. So you talk about the offenses that they ran back then. So yeah, of course he's not going to have a ton of receiving yards, but you have a guy like Johnny Rodgers who played, 10 years before Irving Fryar. Johnny Rodgers has 10 100-plus receiving yards games in his career at Nebraska. That's the most in Nebraska history. Irving Fryar's not close.
No.
So, as
How
far
could
as
he be close? He had 1,200 total yards.
yeah. So it's like,
and he played in 33 games.
So you're talking similar offenses, and Johnny Rodgers had so many more 100-plus receiving yard games. Mm-hmm. Like, are we sure that Irving Fryar is a guaranteed on this list?
I mean, go down the list, though. They're all modern-day guys. There's Stanley Morgan Jr., Kenny Bell, J.D. Spielman.
I think I put Stanley Morgan in there above him because of the fact that he still holds records at Nebraska.
Okay, that's a fair point. I mean, I would put Kenny Bell in there just simply because of the hit in the Wisconsin game.
Kenny Bell's not on there. Sorry.
I know.
We'll give Kenny Bell he fucked him up. Honorable mention.
I know.
The other one on here that I just absolutely love as a throwback guy is Nate Swift.
Well,
he was awesome.
I was actually surprised when I was looking up the record books. Nate Swift is like 4th on the all-time receiving list. I did not remember him finishing his career at 4.
Think about this. You have Trey Palmer on this list at number 9.
That's a tough one.
And that's a 1-year dude.
Yeah, imagine if he'd been there for his whole career.
Yeah.
He holds the record for single-season receiving yards. Like, is he on that list? Is he...
I mean, he definitely makes the top 10 when you look at, when you run down to the top 25.
How many receivers are we picking?
We're picking 2.
Okay.
2.
I mean,
yeah,
if you're taking single season, I would probably put him up there.
He's 140 yards shy of Irving Fryar.
That's crazy. In one season. In 12 games played as opposed to 33.
Yeah. You normalize those numbers out and even, bump him down a little bit. He's easily the best receiver on this list.
Actually, you're right.
And 2 touchdowns short. Too.
Right.
Because Johnny Rodgers played in 33 games as well. And he had 143 catches for 24.79. Trey Palmer, 12 games, 71 catches for 10.43.
Yeah, you just normalize those numbers out, and he's the best receiver on
Trey
it.
Palmer, as far as just receivers, he has the most receiving yards. He has the most in a season. He has the most receptions in a season at 71. So where do you value that? Again, Johnny Rodgers is one of our 2, period. So
he's a freaking Heisman Trophy winner. There's no way he's not on there.
Of course. So here's another guy that we didn't bring up because we brought up Stanley Morgan, his running mate, J.D. Spielman. So J.D. Spielman is, along with Johnny Rodgers, the only 2 guys that has had at least 1 catch in every game he played at Nebraska.
Wow.
And J.D. Spielman's like 3rd on receiving list.
That's a nice stat. It doesn't bump him up any higher for me.
I had to bring him up, though. Because
it's
wild
great.
Thing is,
he's consistent. That's
the wild
nice.
thing is, he played in 37 games. I don't remember him being that impactful in 37 games.
Oh, I do.
No. I'm talking about in 37 games. Like, cool, he had a catch in every single game or whatever, but I don't know. So who do we go with the second one here? Because this is for me. I have to probably say Stanley Morgan Jr. for the consistency.
I kind of agree.
The consistency and he was like, really, he was like the only dude we really had, especially for 2 seasons there, that was like consistently putting up good games.
So this guy's going to be I'm going to bring up a new guy. He's a no on this list as far as especially being the second guy, but I only have to bring this up to begin our next conversation or whenever we bring up the running backs, the eye test.
That's fair.
You're not going to find this guy that I'm going to say on your stat list, but the eye test, might be the most talented receiver we had, is Maurice Purify.
Okay. I can get down with that.
Because I'm going to bring up the best running back we've ever had as far as talent, but he's nowhere close as far as stats go with Lawrence Phillips in a little bit.
That's fair.
But so Maurice Purify, I think he's probably the most talented wide receiver we've ever had.
And a dude we haven't brought up yet. Well, 2 guys, but Quincy Enunwa
was way up there as far as talent.
Went on to have a really good NFL career.
If he didn't break his neck,
and he wasn't on shitty Jets teams the entire fucking time.
Yeah.
Like if he had actually gone on a good team, who knows what he'd be doing in the NFL.
I also forgot how high up Westerkamp was.
I was about to bring him up, and how can we forget about Westerstash?
He's got 3 good
behind the back
good catches.
Iconic as fuck.
You might as well bring up the block on Kenny Bell again. Like, no, I don't care. Sorry. But.
Oh, no. Great catches are great catches, but I'm pretty sure Kenny Bell's face is still imprinted on that kid's shoulders.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. At least the back of his arm.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I would still go with Stanley Morgan, but I had to bring up Maurice Purify as far as the talent aspect goes.
Well, here's the other thing when you're going to talk about talent in the look, the eye test, that brings me back to Trey Palmer again.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to the eye test, Stanley Morgan was your picture of consistency, but he was not like eye test. He was not eye popping by any stretch. So, I mean, that's kind of a toss up for me.
I still, again, I'll go with longevity being the tiebreaker for me, and I'd go with Stanley Morgan, but I'm good with whatever you
Only
guys.
because he was here. Yeah, he was here his whole career.
I'm just excited that we now have a player on the list who played in my lifetime.
Well, there was a lot of dudes on this list to talk about.
Yeah, and a lot of them were around, and I can remember them. But
you know what's kind of wild looking at this list, especially when you're looking at the top 10, is how many of these dudes were Bo guys, and you don't think of Bo having like elite offenses by any stretch.
Well, they were Callahan / Bo guys, but
you didn't think about it being elite at the time, and then we had this power skid for however many years, and we realized that it was elite at the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we had good players, but back we didn't really have very good quarterbacks back then. That was one of the biggest problems.
Yeah, the chunk just had a good arm.
When you have Joe Daly, when you have Joe Daly trying to throw the ball to guys like Nate Swift, it's like, well, Nate Swift might end up being number 1 instead of number 4 if he didn't have guys like that throwing him the ball.
And he was Swift, wasn't he? That I'll never forget. That was it a punt return or a kick return that swung that? What game was that? Fuck, can't remember. This is going back to the high school days here. I can't remember. Moving on to running backs.
This is a pretty easy number 1, obviously.
Yeah, pretty easy number 1. Mike Rozier, obviously Heisman Trophy winner.
I mean, my number 1 is Lawrence Phillips. He's the most talented running back we've ever had.
So let's break this out.
It's Phillips and Rozier as our 2 running backs.
Oh shit!
I want to hear your argument on most talented as far as the eye test and all that. Go for it. You run with this.
I mean, I don't really know what I should say as far as eye test. Just watch any game that he played. He was the most physical. He was the most athletic player he was terrible human being. Best running back we've ever had. That's my opinion.
Okay, so I hear you.
I know, and again, you can look at the stats if you want to.
Usually, you're more of a stats guy.
Stats tell a story, though, too.
Yeah, but he also missed a lot of games for various reasons.
Okay, missed a lot of games, but he played in 2 less games than Mike Rozier, and he came up 2,000 yards shy and almost, a point and a half, a yard and a half per carry shy of what Mike Rozier did. Also, basically half the touchdowns.
He played in the exact same number of games as Ahman Green and had over 1,000 yards less.
Like I said, I get it. I know what the stats are going to say.
For me, here's this. You can have the most talented, and then you can have, because I think some people would argue, and we'll see how his college career shakes out, but some people would argue that Dylan Raiola is probably the most talented quarterback
No,
from just a pure quarterbacking perspective.
Nobody's
that's
going to argue
ever
that.
played.
I have
That's ever played at Nebraska.
I have the ultimate trump card. Nobody's going to tell you that Tom Brady is the most talented quarterback to ever
Correct.
play in the NFL,
Correct.
but he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
So, full stop.
Yeah, talent-wise, Tom Brady's not.
He's a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
But
So here's the thing. Mike Rozier's going in at number 1.
All right, that's fine.
Undoubtedly.
I mean, I can't argue that.
Now the only question, because I have this I have the second spot for running back as running back / fullback. Is there a fullback we'd rather elevate?
No.
I don't think so. Either.
we should talk about it.
So here's my real question about the number 2 spot. I'll hear your Lawrence Phillips. I'll give him consideration as the number 2, but you also have to look at Ameer Abdullah, Ahman Green,
Of course.
and Roger Craig.
Yes.
So feed me the shit on
Hell.
Roger Craig because I don't have any knowledge of his playing days.
I mean, I would add also like a Marlon Lucky. I think he is vastly underrated. I'm not trying to put
He's actually one of my favorite players.
I'm not
growing
trying to
up.
put these guys these next guys that I'm going to bring up. I'm not trying to say that they should be like above Ahman Green or whatever else.
Sure.
But Calvin Jones, phenomenal running back.
Rex Burkhead.
No. Yeah, Roger Craig, Doug DeBose is way up there. Keith Jones, Ken Clark. Like guys like that, I think should be right there as far as maybe like a third tier, I guess, if you want to tier off the running backs.
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess that's the way I'm looking at it. If I tiered off the running backs, it would be Rozier Phillips in tier 1. Very close tier 2 would be Green, Abdullah. Even Roger Craig, I think, would be below those two guys.
I was about to say that.
Because Roger Craig, as good of a career, because he was the fullback for Mike Rozier. And then he moved to running back. Roger Craig had definitely a better NFL career than he did a college career.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put Roger Craig up there as far as that aspect goes. But again, as far as if I'm tiering them out, it's Phillips and Rozier, and then it's everybody else.
That's fair. I don't know that I'm willing to give the second spot to Lawrence Phillips. Just simply
I know
because,
that I'm not.
Just simply because
It's okay to be wrong.
I love Ameer Abdullah. I love Ameer Abdullah.
Little bit of a compiler.
But Ahman Green, especially when you couple that with his NFL career, like, because you can't ignore the NFL career completely, but
Or his 2 national championships.
I will, because
that
it'll
too.
be 2 votes against my 1. I will give up the Phillips thing, but I will not allow you to put Ameer Abdullah above Ahman Green.
okay, perfect.
We're
That's
all
where I
kind
was
of making
going
the
with
same
this.
argument
Okay.
here.
That's where I was going with this because Ameer Abdullah played in 14. No, excuse me.
I will disagree, but if it's not going to be Phillips, it has to be Ahman Green.
He played in 18 more games than Ahman Green, and he amassed an additional 800 yards
And
and
didn't have as
three
many
less
touchdowns.
and 3 less touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what I meant by he's a little bit of a compiler. He just played in so many games. He's still a great running back,
100%.
but he wasn't quite the same killer that Ahman Green was.
Yeah, I mean, Ameer Abdullah has the 4th and the 6th best season all time. He's pretty good.
The only other thing that I will give to Ameer Abdullah over Ahman Green is he was not playing with that offensive line.
True.
Correct.
Like Ahman
also-
Green did have that offensive line.
He still holds the record for all-purpose yards at Nebraska.
But
I did not recall that.
to be fair with that offense, there was a few of those offensive linemen behind or in front of Ameer Abdullah that did go on and have careers in the NFL. I'm not trying to, so they weren't scrubs by any means.
That's fair. That's fair.
This is probably the most debate we're going
So-
to have on this.
So let's have a real debate on this because we don't actually have a second quarterback slot, but we all know who the number 1 guy is. We'll get to him in a minute. Where do you go with a number 2 guy like a backup here?
Eric Crouch.
You do 100%.
He's the only Heisman winner around here.
I mean, I get that.
Granted, if he'd played in a different year, he probably wouldn't have won the Heisman. But
Yeah.
Pretty much any other year, yeah. And he doesn't have that play against Oklahoma. Yeah.
When Rex Grossman finishes second, it's kind of like, oh, this is a bad year.
Yeah. Rex who?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, he took a team to the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
No, I mean, obviously you got Turner Gill. We don't like bringing up this guy's name, but Scott Frost, he won a national title. He was really good here. Steve Taylor is another guy that not enough people talk about from the mid-'80s. Joe Gans has the most passing yards in a season. Maybe if he had more longevity, he'd be higher up on this list. Zach Taylor won the Conference Player of the Year. He has 2 of the top 10 seasons. Taylor Martinez got a lot of shit during his career, but he had a great career here at Nebraska.
Adrian Martinez is way up on this list.
Yeah.
Adrian is on the list. I think Tommy Armstrong gets shit on just because of the teams that he played on, but he had 2 of the top 10 seasons in the history of the program for quarterbacks. He has the most career passing yards. I understand.
Say of anybody.
Yeah, I mean, you can say the systems and I don't give a shit. He's
a lot of the reason why we had some of those guys, though, that were modern guys on the wide receiver list.
Jamal Lord, at the time that he was done here at Nebraska, he had the best season statistically in the history of the program for a quarterback. So, I mean, there are guys, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those, I don't want to put the Heisman Trophy on too much of a pedestal, but at the same time, if you're looking at guys that are close, Heisman kind of is a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So, it's Eric Crouch.
But I did not remember Adrian Martinez having over 10,000 yards in his career.
Well, you got to remember how much he was running for his life half the games he was in.
You know what? That's valid.
He also had what, like probably 10 plus 50-yard runs. I would guess somewhere in that neighborhood.
I have no idea.
I don't have that stat in front of me, but he had a lot. Yeah, but a lot of that came on chunk plays where he had the whole field wide open and he just galloped.
It's just boggling my mind that he doubled up Tommy Frazier on total offensive yards.
Yeah. But as far as, our second, obviously, you just said his name. The number one guy, I mean, you can't, there's no conversation. Widely regarded as one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the history of the sport.
And the fact that he didn't win a Heisman Trophy,
still to this day, is regarded as one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the history of the sport. It's Tommy.
And to not win the Heisman that year is blasphemous.
I still would say Eddie George deserved it, but
whatever, Titans boy.
hey, you love Eddie George too. Shut the fuck up.
I do love Eddie George, but he didn't deserve the. He didn't.
I don't
deserve
say
the
that
Heisman
as a
over.
Titans guy. I said it even at the time.
You are entitled to your wrong
Turns
opinion.
out he's an Ohio State fan too.
That's okay. You guys didn't put Phillips on this list, so fuck off.
Not even close.
We probably fucked up some of this stuff. I forgot some people.
All of you old heads out there, tell these fuckers that they're stupid about not putting Lawrence Phillips on the list. But
and all of you guys that are like me that need to go back and watch some old film, have a good time.
Yeah, YouTube, you got it.
I'm
got
ready
it all.
to put it on this TV right here. Jesus.
YouTube, you got it all. Hey, do us a favor. If you like the show, please hit that like button, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Find us out on the socials and
share it too.
Share it. We'll catch you next time.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.